Good day, my friend. Right now, as I speak to you at this moment, New York City is about 7 degrees Fahrenheit. 7. And to listen to people speak, you would think this is the end of the world. You would think this is so cataclysmic, so beyond explanation. And yet everybody that I've ever spoken to or have and speak with on a regular basis, especially those from New York City and this particular area, we're very close to the top of the country. You know, theoretically, not too far from us is Niagara Falls in Canada. You know how that thing goes. There are people who say, when we went to school, it was cold. Nobody went crazy. Nobody went nuts. The amount of alerts I'm getting and breaking news and weather discussions, and it is absolutely incredible. I find that interesting. And I also love the psychology behind that. Why do you think people? Look at this. It's 49 in San Francisco. We love to do that too. Well, I'm in Florida and it's 73 here. What that is saying is, I don't believe you, or it's irrelevant what you're doing. So let me just leave it at that. I want to discuss that. I must start off with some incredibly important and absolutely critical news of what am I trying to say? Shopkeeping or bookkeeping or housekeeping or whatever you want to call it. Number one, you must, and I don't know how to say this because sometimes people just don't do it because they just don't hear it. You must subscribe. You must like these videos. This is your thank you. This makes everything. This is your thank you. You can donate, you can do just a variety of means of doing that, but this is how you say thank you. By subscribing, by liking, by hitting the bell so you're notified of videos and the like. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. It is the most important thing. It is the only metric that is of any notion, of any means. It's absolutely free, costs you nothing. Why would you not want to subscribe something you're watching now? Who speaks to you like this? I don't say, hi guys, one time. I don't go through this ritualized, hi guys, I don't treat you like some kindergarten class. I don't do this. Nobody speaks to you at the level that I do, with the respect. It's true. And all I ask is for you to like what I'm doing. And to like it by saying, I subscribe. Here. That's it. That's it. Number 2. And listen to me very, very, very carefully. If you want to hear my thorough, no holds barred, absolutely brutal dissection of the issues regarding, well, in this particular week, regarding the I don't want to call it balloon gate, but stories regarding the balloon and the balloon issues and everything attendant thereto, you must subscribe, to my private channel. That is where, and I'm sorry to say this, but I must, that is where the adults are able to romp freely, without the encumbrance of concern over what is thought. Look at just go to lionelmedia.com. I put a link there. Just look at the subject. Go to the the welcome page. Just look at the topics. Look at what's happening. If you want to see anything regarding the various addresses this week at or on the floor of the House from a number of esteemed politicians regarding various committee assignments, AOC and others, subscribe to this channel. If you want to hear what is going on, the real stuff that is going on at a level, and I can't say this enough. I don't mean to be, how do I say this? I don't mean to be rude, and I shan't, but if you want to hear it at a level that has you saying, wow, that's the private channel. And that's what many of my colleagues and my fellow, I don't want to say providers, but with those of us who have been in the business. Because that is the only place where I feel, at this particular stage in our development, free to say what I want to say. That's it. So I've done that for you, and I've put this link up for you, and I want to describe this thing to you, okay? I want to just, and there's a lot of other stuff going on. Oh my God, a lot of issues, which, let's face it, are very interesting. And here's the thing. How much do you want to hear about them? How deeply do you want to go? And that's a very interesting question. Let me stop right there. Let me just give you an idea. Sometimes there are people who will say, I will take a rather cursory approach to this. I will give you an example. I'll give you an analogy, if you will. Imagine if your child asks you specifically where babies come from. Now, do you know the various levels? You can really, really explain it at levels that up to and including meiosis and or you can explain it to the way, in a way that is amenable to their worldview. That's the way it is right now. That's the way it is. Let me say something, and I want you to never take this the wrong way. And I don't mean you, because you're different. You're very, very different, and I can't say this enough. I would love to do a show. There was a show years ago. I don't even know if it's on anymore. It's called, they would take moments from TV shows and they would break it down and kind of laugh at it. And kind of bloopers or so. But I would love to stop and say, all right, my friends, let's watch this show. This was on this week's show. I got to tell you this one. Better yet, let me tell you this particular outlook or this story in a way that's different. Imagine you are the subject overnight of a story. You've done something in your town, in your position, in your occupation, whatever it is, and people around the world want to talk to you. And you are going to be on a nationally syndicated, whatever that means, cable news program. Okay? And you're going to go on maybe with your lawyer. Maybe with your lawyer. And this could be the chance for you to really, this is the one, this is the video. This is the segment that is going to go viral within the limitations of this immediately. Now you can do a couple of things. First, you can prepare what you're going to say. And let me tell you this much. Remember, I'm telling you, if you are ever on a TV show, for whatever reason, something that happened to you, something that happened in your neighborhood, something regarding your organization or your cause or a political position you want to maintain, whatever it is, make sure you always have a specific list of what you're going to say, and you say it no matter what they ask you. No matter what, you're going to say this because you have a minute, maybe to get the point across. Maybe. And the host is most probably unfamiliar with what you're doing. The host may or may not read from the prompt of the questions. You may have done a pre-interview with some producer. Listen to what I'm saying. Rule number 1, you're going to say whatever it is. Number 2, if they change their mind. If you're going on talking about some particular, I don't know, effort you want to maintain in your community, and they say, how about that Tom Brady retiring? Are you going to answer that question about Tom Brady? No. You're going to say, that's funny. That reminds me. And you go right back into what you're going to say. You're going to say what you're going to say no matter what they ask you. Rule number 1. Number 2, don't look like a buffoon. If you're going to go on there to try to convince people to like you, to respect you, to say, wow, I like this man, I like this woman, I like this cause, I like these people. Do not wear a baseball cap backwards. Wear a suit, wear a dress, look respectable. That used to mean something. Look like you're going to church. That used to mean something. Don't wear a t-shirt, don't wear a saying. Maybe if you're running for something, maybe if you're a chicken farmer or a llama shepherd and they're talking about chickens or llamas or whatever, okay. But I don't know what to tell you. Okay? Next. Make sure your lawyer is camera ready. If you show up with a lawyer, if you show up with a representative, if you're going to split your time in half, make sure your lawyer is camera ready. No t-shirts, no slogans. This is a lawyer. You're trying to scare the other side. You're trying to say, wow, they mean business. And finally, please listen to me. Don't do this. Before they come to you, don't say like, I'm on TV. I'm on TV. How many times have you heard this? Here to discuss the tragedy that's befallen the family. Here is mother. And I'm going to go one more. Do not ever thank somebody for having you on. They should thank you for being on. You're a get. You're the catch. Thank you for having me on. It sounds like I need you. I don't need you. I'm the story. My issue is critical. Oh, you need me. So remember that. Every time I see this, every time I see this, and somebody's always said, just like, hi guys. I don't know where this is. Hey guys, I want you guys to understand. Okay, you guys. All right, you guys. I don't know where that came from, but lose it. And something happens when you see something, you repeat what you see. That's all I want to say. If you have any questions, you call me. This is your chance to go on. This is your chance to go on TV and your chance to be seen by people. And it's critical that you maintain this. Okay. Now, before I forget, I've got to tell you something. And this is the most. Do you remember, and we're talking about our great sponsor, EMP Shield. Do you remember what I was talking to you? And by the way, if you're listening to this, please, and you have a phone or something, you've got to hit the more button so you're able to read what these are. Do you remember the 21st of September? Do you remember when we were talking about EMPs, electromagnetic pulse, EMP Shield, and I asked you not years ago, but a while back, what that was? Well, you knew exactly what this was, and we talked about this. And I talked to you about the great folks at EMP Shield. I told you about this. This was a veteran-owned company, still is in the Midwest, called EMP Shield. And they've invented this device that can you can hook up to your vehicle or your home that will protect you in the threat of an EMP, electromagnetic pulse. The technology has undergone testing at Keystone Compliance and is listed by the Department of Homeland Security. And in addition to protecting your home and your vehicle, it also can protect your generator and your solar system, ham radio, RV, and much more. The link is here. Do you understand now why this may be even more important for you than it has ever been? Let's say in the last couple of days. Again, if you want to hear more, go to my private channel. I'll go into great detail. But sometimes situations are presented to you where they do this. Electromagnetic pulse. What this can do in case your electrical systems are ever affected by something of this nature. Are you catching on to what I'm saying? I think you are. Go to this site. Use this link. Read. Read for yourself. Situations are knocking on the door. They're saying right now, they're telling you things. Hello. Now, another thing which is important, which is another kind of an interesting story, an interesting little reminder of what goes on in the world today. And that's why our sponsors are so terrific, and that's why what is so great about them is the fact that they make so much cosmic sense. Yesterday, Mrs. Ellen and I thought, it's gonna be cold, and it's just one day. We went to a food store, and outside they had the buggies, baskets, whatever you want to call it, outside. And I couldn't even touch the handle. I couldn't touch this plastic handle. It was frozen. To see people on the streets walking around with ice station zebra hats, it's something. What would happen in the event where because of a supply chain problem, supply chain slowdown, supply chain interruptions, supply chain whatever, if people were really stocking up water and this and clothes and drive, what would you do? My Patriot Supply has been here. They have been highest ratings from millions of people. Right now, for a limited time only, if you use this site, remember, preparewithlionel.com. There's the link. This is our sponsor. You can save $250 on a 3-month emergency food kit. 90 days, you would have one per person. I cannot say it enough. Sometimes nature, situation, circumstances just present themselves to you, and this is what you should know. So My Patriot Supply. But the only link, the way you do it is preparewithlionel.com, preparewithlionel.com, and we thank you. I think you know what's going on. And that's why I can talk to you like I can't talk to anybody. Because you understand what's going on. You do know that, right? You do. I can talk to you in a way that other people, you cannot even remotely do this. And this is true. I'm finding myself also, for the most part, finding that a lot of people really don't want to get to what do issues really mean. Now, let me explain something here. I always marvel at this one. One of the things I noticed when I was a kid was that my father in particular always talked about, loved the weather. Growing up in Florida, it was Florida. There was nothing to it. It was hot. And I used to just hear, just adults do. I never understood this. Oh, it's going to rain. It looks like rain. Boy, we sure had a lot of rain, didn't we? We sure had a lot of, farmers need it. Had a lot of rain. Oh, it's a lot of rain. Well, that's all you can talk about Florida is rain, because everything else is the same. It's hot. I thought to myself, what is this? What is it? Why do people do this? And then when I'll never forget when cable came out. Oh my God. My father was in heaven because he watched the Weather Channel. I said, "You're watching the Weather Channel? You've got to be kidding me." Oh no, look at this. It was this, he loved it. And I didn't really understand it. Maybe, are you into meteorology? Is that it? Are you into atmospherics? What? Explain this to me. And his friends, it's the most amazing thing in the world. I can't believe it. What's going on here? It's the most amazing thing in the world. My God. And then, you're going to love this. Maybe you've known this is true. I'm doing it myself. I'm doing it myself. And there's a number of reasons for it. And I thought of it. And I find myself doing it. Why? First, commonality. Number one. It is the one subject everybody you know. If somebody walks up to you from another country, in another language, you have to convey this, obviously, from another lifestyle, dimension, intellectual or political perspective, whatever you want to call it, you are able to immediately say to them, "It's cold, isn't it?" "It sure is." Wow. And I'm also interested to know I want to know what statistics are in terms of crime, domestic violence, retail theft. What goes up? What goes down? I want to know, where do people go? Where do people go? And I always think of, and this is the part that always breaks my heart, somebody who was outside, somebody who was either homeless or mentally ill, what happens to them? They have to go, because we saw yesterday, no one. And it reminded me of COVID days, where to see, this was the most surreal thing, to see Times Square, the theater district, with nobody there. On a Wednesday, matinee day, nobody there. It was like a movie set. It reminded me, it's really something. What is it about weather? Let me ask you this question. What is it that is so atavistic that it's primordial? It causes us to go back into this part of ours, because the thing, I'm convinced, and I want to know, what was it like during when humans became at first cognizant, when they were aware of what was happening in the world? What was it that they did? What was it that they did? How did they handle the idea, the notion, this thing called weather? What is that like? You don't understand anything. Lightning, rain, darkness, light, cyclical, snow, cold, hot. What is this? We're still trying to figure out. We still. And I'm telling you, the part, there are things, and Mrs. L will tell you, oh my God, he's doing it again. The part that I laugh at and marvel at the most are people who where we have the weatherman. Remember the weatherman years ago? Was always this funny guy. It was, what was his name from the Today Show? No, the old man. It was Smucker. Wilbur or... No, not Wilbur. Willard Scott. Remember Willard Scott? Oh, let's go outside. We want to say a special hello to... Yeah. To Maisie Schenectady from Williamsburg. She's 190 years old. Well, I don't know about that one. Her favorite hobbies are breathing and making a fist. Well, here's to you, good-looking, gorgeous woman. Smuckers. Oh. And here's a weatherman giving us the national weather. I don't think we have enough time for that, by definition. But yet, he was the original Ronald McDonald. and I think it was in D.C., remember? Oh, let's go right now. His name is Jethro Williamson. He's 150. Willard, do you check these dates out? Oh, that's what they told me. That's what they told me. Then Al Roker, same thing. It was always this, we had this guy one time. When I was growing up, we had a weatherman. His name was Nelson Medina. And he was a precursor to Roy Leap. Roy Leap was serious. And now let's go to our Doppler. Our what? No. Let's go to our Doppler weather. There it is. We are the only weather service that has Doppler weather. Roy? Yes? Don't you get the same information from the U.S. Weather Service? Yep. Don't they have Doppler? Yeah. Why are you buying your own Doppler? Well, I don't really know. We just have our... Why are you buying this? Why you think your Doppler is better than the Air Force? You know, you go to the airport, they know stuff like you can't believe. Their life depends on it. They've got weather and satellites. What are you doing here? On Channel 13? What are you doing? I never understood this. Well, we got our Doppler. I know you got the Doppler. What's with the Doppler? Who cares? But this guy, Nelson Medina, was so funny. They would always make jokes on. One time they had snow, fake snow, obviously. And they had it in a box, and they poured it on him in the middle. I thought nobody ever joked around. They didn't really joke. It was during the nascent period of TV before people joked around. We had a local guy. Remember, Tex Antoine, was he a weather? Channel 7. Was he weather? Yeah. Look up that guy. Tex Antoine. That's a good one for you. One time we had a weatherman. Who, you have the little clicker, little thing. Because you know what it's like. You're looking, the camera, you're looking off to the side and there's a screen, but you're standing in front of a green screen. But you're looking off to the camera on the right to point to, you kind of know where to do. When you go like this, it comes like that. Anyway, he walked out there, and instead of having the little clicker, the little device, the remote control that changed the scene, he had his cell phone, his iPhone. And going like this. It was like being there, John C. Gardner. I like to watch, Ben. And I'm thinking, what am I watching? The world is aflame. People are falling apart. Now, sports I kind of understand because that's bread and circuses and tribal. But what is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of this? And then they would say this, weather advisory. Weather advisory. What does that mean? You think breaking is good? Weather advisory? And we would say, I was on TV and radio, and I always made fun of this. When I was doing morning drive one time on WABC, I said, by the way, it's going to be a very hot day today. And by the way, in New York City, you don't think of it as hot, but with the canyons, with the buildings, the heat is just, this is the weirdest thing. When you're in New York, the city, you can turn a corner. If you're near the west side, I'm sure near the east side as well, but if you're near the west side, where the Hudson River is, you'll turn a corner, and it's like, wow. Just turn a corner and get that gust off of the Hudson. It drops like 20 degrees. It's like, wow. It can be so dark outside. Get into an elevator, go up, and it's bright. It's beautiful. But at the street level, it looks like it's dark. I mean, it's weird. It's like being in this strange thing. So one day I was making fun of, they had the weatherman. We had something with Channel 7 or Channel 5, whatever, some connection. And I said, by the way, and I had a great man, Bruce Anderson was my news man. And I'd always joke with him. I said, by the way, we have some weather tips. By the way, avoid all necessary flannel today. And it was, of course, it was like 100 degrees, but the hottest and the coldest I've ever been have been in New York City. Hottest and the coldest. Where I thought, I can't believe how hot this is. And anyway. And I would talk about during hot days, I said you can also, and I would pretend I was an expert, you could take frozen niblets. And men should be able to place them, perhaps smaller bags, wear them, frozen niblets down your shorts, and it's great for keeping certain aspects of our nether region cool. And they always would say, Avoid excessive alcohol. This is the most ridiculous thing in the world. Avoid drinking alcohol. Alcohol dehydrates you. A beer on a hot day? What? Anyway, so I would confuse. They didn't like that. They got mad at me. I'm making fun of the weatherman. I said, yeah. But the one that got me the most was they said, please always check on the elderly. The elderly are advised. I said, excuse me, how do you think they got to be elderly? They know a little bit about this. They know a little bit about this. So you coming up and saying these things, it's just one of those mindless things that just doesn't make any sense. And they're still going crazy today. They're still going nuts talking about the weather. And it's one of those things I absolutely, it kills me how these things are made. That's all. It absolutely kills me. And how we move accordingly, how we act accordingly. That's all I want to tell you. Now, I don't know if you've done this or looked at this, but I want you to recognize this fact. I want you to see immediately what is happening. But our friends at MyPillow, check this out. They have changed the website again. They have changed it. With MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel, read for yourself. There it is. MyPillow.com. And I want to make sure you have this, because this, well, let me just show you. There we go. I like to put that up for you so you can have it handy. Again, if you're looking at this on a regular phone and that sort of thing, you can't see what's going on here, and you need to do that. Anyway, we're in that. What am I talking about? I'm kind of mumbling to myself, and I recognize that fact. If you ever mumbled to yourself, be very, very, very careful. Okay? Anyway, here it is. You can go to MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel, or call 800-645-4965. Check this one out. Look at this one. Promo code, you get a free gift. I know. MyPillow 2.0 or 2.0. There it is. Buy one, get one free right now. The bathrobe closeout sale. Giza sheet sets. Buy one, get one free. MyPillow percale sheet sets as low as $29.98. The overstock sale up to 80% off. I'm going crazy reading it. Beach blankets just around the corner. You know, you don't have to take a beach blanket to the beach. You know that, right? Of course you don't. The complete mattress sleep system. MyPillow 3-inch mattress topper. MyPillow down. Oh, you can use it with the dorm. Down blankets. Women's sleepwear, loungewear. My body pillow. MyPillow body pillow. A body pillow. Think about that one. A body pillow with a body pillowcase. Return to the womb, Freudian, I think so. Gossamer blankets, quilts, throw blankets. It goes on and on and on. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. Please, for the love of all that is righteous, make sure you use promo code Lionel. And I don't know about you, but we have a friend of ours the other day who was, remember, she was coughing, and I heard a lung, a veritable lung that was dislodged. Like, ooh, and you don't want to say anything. Remember, right, when people would cough and people would say, get. My friends, you have one of the most incredible things in the world, this immune system. You are constantly being bombarded. Think of it as having a kind of like a VPN or some type of an antivirus system, because really the analogy is perfect. And what you have to do and you must have is the ability right now to do everything you can to fortify yourself from everything. And right now, I would love to be able to tell you. I'm going to do it. Z-Stack. I love this. A bottle. Look at this. Start with this. Very simple bottle of Z-Stack. What is it? One bottle of Z-Stack. Look at this. You get a deal right now. Look at this right now. Did I do this? Did I put this up? Let me check. I've got so many windows open. You know, life's like that. You got a lot of windows open. And let me see where we go. Right there. There we go. 15% off. 15% off Z-Stack for yourself and your kids. But you got to go to this custom URL to do it. But this is a part that I find interesting. It's like, okay, impress me. Well, how about zinc? Good. Vitamin C, good. Linus Pauling is great. Vitamin D, oh, be still my heart. Yes. D is still the greatest. D is the greatest. And plant-based nutrients like quercetin. Now, let me talk to you about something. I'm not pointing a finger. But I bet you, for the most part, that you don't get enough plant-based foods. I'm sorry, it's true. I'm not pointing fingers. But one of the best is quercetin. Flavonoids. And the beautiful part about this is that this is what gives things like fruits and flowers and vegetables their color. Why is that important? To lure in bees. This is very interesting. It's kind of paradoxical if you think about it. Bugs are supposed to be colorblind. So why does a color matter to a bee? Can they see color? Apparently so. They see something because bright flowers do much better. Come on, little bug. Come on, little bee. Pollinate me. And then dark greens. If you got to eat something, give me something that's dark and green. Give me Tuscan kale. Give me collards. Give me something that even tastes almost bitter. Because it's that taste. It's used to act as an insecticide to ward off bugs. That is what makes your endothelium and the exchange of nitric oxide. That's what causes your arteries to expand. That's why it's critical. That's why you eat greens, because of that. The endothelium. The endothelium is that magic carpet that lines the inner portion of the lumen of the arteries. That's it. When you talk about atherosclerosis in part, it comes from the bottom up. It's not like a pipe where you throw junk in and it clogs up. No, it's about inflammation that comes from the base. And you have this tear, this little thing in the endothelium. That's the issue. And when it comes to the top, think of it almost like a pimple, like, for lack of a better word, a zit, ready to go, inflame, and with the blood that goes through it. Think about this. You've got this tip. It's just sitting there. Ready to go, ready to pop, and this blood flow goes through it. And it's that soft plaque. That's the part that scares me. It's that soft plaque. And the blood's going by. And then one day, it bursts and clot. That's it. So what are we doing? We're working on the endothelium. That's what it's about. That's why phytonutrients, bioavailable phytonutrients, greens and plants, this is so critical. But you're not eating them. Stew it. But in the meantime, belt and suspender. Use everything you can. Have I made my point? I think I have. That's all. You don't have to memorize this. You don't have to know anything. Just do what I do. So there you have it. Right there, my friends. You know, health is a very, 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 very wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. And you think about it sometimes and you think, what is it? Is there any kind of an owner's manual to it? Well, no, sort of. There is, but not really. You ever talk to a doctor about nutrition? That's the fun. Anybody go to a fat doctor? You ever have that? Something about this. You're and by the way, I'm not talking about this in terms of cosmetics, but belly fat and other particular issues. You kind of want to ask yourself sometimes: Do you have any concerns about maybe your own health? And is this a good example you're setting for me? I don't think so. I don't think this is a good idea. I'm not feeling good about this one. And nobody really tells you. And by the way, it's so simple. Do you know that what we did? I'm changing this up a little bit, which is good. Do you know what we did? We stopped smoking. For the most part, does anybody here still smoke? Does anybody here smoke? Still? And I'm not pointing fingers. Because nicotine is there, and it's a very, very powerful drug. The reasons why people like it is because not because they're weak, but because it's effective. But you don't see, you really, when you look somebody smoking, wow, you're smoking. And vaping, I'm seeing less vaping. I'm seeing a lot of smoke shops. I don't know where you are, but other kinds of shops. But people on their own stopped smoking. They stopped. Not because the government told them to, not because of laws, not because of anything, but they just stopped on their own. I think that's pretty doggone good. Pretty doggone good. I like that. And we just did it. And we're smarter. Who remembers Jim Fixx? Who remembers the art? What was it? The book of running, the art of running, the whatever. Remember that? Remember when nobody would jog? I'm old enough to remember when the only people who jogged were people who were athletes, boxers who did road work. We didn't have foot lockers and, kicks and, No, you bought Chucks and tennis shoes. Oh, whatever. Nothing really big. It was a brand new concept. You're doing what? You're running, and people did it. They did it. They just started because it was cool. It was wonderful, and they started exercising. And if you look at the various short films, people are going through great processes themselves, trying to find ways to exercise, and that's wonderful, and that's a part of it. But when it comes to diet, good luck with that one. But at least they're trying. At least somebody is at least aware of this. You can read about intermittent fasting. You can read about and watch things on every. I did a video which got probably the least attention of anything, and it was the most important video I've ever done, and that's in teaching culinary education, teaching people how to cook. Teaching people how to cook. There was a time when we say, these boys today don't know anything. Cooking is cool. Cooking is great because of not only James Beard, but because of others and Gordon Ramsay and others, the Cooking and the Food Network and great videos that show you how to grill meat and everything. I mean, it is incredible. It is so important. Not only can you save money, but you can be in charge of what it is that you eat. Let me tell you something right off the bat. Listen to me carefully. Listen to me. I thank God for whatever reason I don't have the following predispositions. Number one, salt. I don't know why. I never learned as a kid putting salt on anything. Sometimes. There's a thing called Crazy Jane's mixed up salt. On fried chicken, it was the greatest thing anybody had ever imagined. It was so great. It was so beautiful. It was wonderful. Crazy Jane's mixed up salt. Loved it. Just loved it. Incredible. Loved it. Okay. It was salty. Okay. Whatever. Fine. But that's it. Watch how restaurants put on salt. Watch it. I mean, they just, oh my God. So that's number one. Thank God. Number two, and this isn't a bad thing, but I never really picked up any kind of sense of sweet. Sweets are good. Chocolates are good. But I don't ever have a craving for that. I don't have that. I don't have it. I'm not proud of it. I'm not trying to say, I don't have it and you're bad. No. And third, thank God, I don't care about gambling. I don't care about gambling. And do yourself a favor. When somebody smokes or doesn't smoke or stops smoking, don't tell people how you don't do that. I mean, it's one thing to say it, but I've got this one friend who goes, I never smoked a cigarette in my life. Okay. No way. Okay. Okay, I understand. Thank you. Okay. It's this. Am I great or what? Why do you think people like nicotine? Why do you think it? Why? Because they're weak? No, because in your brain you have this wonderful little neurotransmitter, and yes, this is the brain. You have this wonderful little neurotransmitter that says, come on, let's go. Come on. We have this little lock for you. These neurotransmitters, these little neuroreceptors are wonderful. They're these like locks. And you can say, well, I've got a key here. Go ahead. What is this? Well, this sort of fits. That'll do. In fact, people are saying right now that in some particular cases, there are some hallucinogenics that are so perfect, they fit the neuroreceptor so perfectly that you think, wait a minute, maybe there's something to it. Remember, I'm telling you this, and there will be absolute breakthroughs in the world regarding hallucinogens, psychotropics, actual LSD-like hallucinogenics that will unravel the deepest parts of our psyche. I don't know what the word is. There are people who've suffered from post-traumatic stress, people who've been through horrors, people who've been through abuse scenarios, people who can understand. Have you ever been somewhere and seen a really good, or been around a really fast internet? You never thought the internet could work this fast. You never knew your computer could work this fast. Like, oh my God, this thing is great. It opens up like this. The problem is there are people who don't necessarily know what they're doing. It's a very dangerous subject. You don't want to play around with it. But we saw this with not only DMT, but also MDMA and what used to be called the whole notion of, ecstasy and all that kind of jazz. But it is going to be a game changer. Game changer. To open up, because there is a part, this, of course, the brain. This is so wonderful. And there are portals, and there are ways of gaining access to different aspects of it that nobody ever thought possible. There are ways for you to but amateur, I don't know, be careful. This is scary stuff. So fragile right now. So fragile. I'm fascinated by schizophrenia. Fascinated. And there are cases, nobody wants to talk about it, but there are cases sometimes of kids who were involved in recreational, certain kind of drug use where I know one in particular. Now, did the recreational drug use cause it? Did it exacerbate it? Who knows? There's a difference. But I've talked about this. I could speak about the ethical aspects of this all day long. But going back to what I said, you are going to find people who have been for the longest time, there is an impediment, something that is keeping a person from really seeing and understanding something. Why do I say this? It goes back to the epiphany moment, the aha moment, when everything makes sense, when you say, oh. Do you ever get to the point where you understand your parents? Maybe you're older and you realize, wait a minute, I understand them now. Maybe because I'm older. Maybe I'm kind of like them. Yes, now I understand. I understand what they were trying to do. They were doing the best they could. Maybe, as an example. I understand. This is what they were thinking. This is what they couldn't tell me. This is what I wasn't doing. I got it. That feeling, that epiphany moment, is the most wonderful thing in the world. I got it. I understand. And their pharmaceuticals, psychotropics, hallucinogenics, whatever it is, under strict care are the answer for that. I do not recommend anybody even pretending to play around with that. It's a very scary thing. Just like there are some forms of certain mind control and human behaviors that can lure you in. See, we think we're much tougher than we are, but we're not. We're not. Anyway, it went from pretty heavy, from cold weather to this. But as you know, and as I'm telling you again, and I'm going to say this because this is my private channel, what I want to talk about, what I enjoy discussing, nobody on YouTube is even remotely interested. And it's sort of. Actually, let me strike that. I was listening to John Mearsheimer. I've listened to every lecture he's ever given, many times over and over again, and on NATO, and it's like I had no idea. And if I can kind of get you to understand what it's like to go after, to learn something, not repeat the lore, but understand it, it would be a wonderful thing. Now, do me a favor also. It would mean so much to me that you immediately follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors on Twitter right now. It is simply the best. What she is doing, learn about what she did this weekend. She does the best radio show anybody's ever done. She doesn't even understand this. She doesn't grasp how good she is. She doesn't understand it. Imagine being able to throw something 100 miles an hour and you don't know baseball exists. Imagine. You have no idea. Now, also her newsletter, I beseech, implore you to follow such right there. This is her newsletter. It is absolutely wonderful. I put out a newsletter too, and when people unsubscribe to it, I think sometimes, are you kidding me? Do you really? I mean, this is the best thing in the world. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You don't want to hear this. Some people say, no, I just don't want to read. I don't want to read. Okay, fine. Well, I know you're different. And also, this is following me on Twitter as well. All right, my friends, it's been a great and a glorious and a wonderful day. It is right now, it's getting a little warmer. It's about 9 degrees. You have a wonderful and a great day. Let me leave you with a couple of ideas. First of all, you can understand anything you want. That's number one. Number two, there is nothing that will hurt you if you know it. You have never been hurt in your life by knowing anything, by hearing something, by hearing an opinion, by listening to a song, by listening to a poem. You have never, ever, ever. You can reject it. You can dismiss it. It's completely up to you, totally up to you. That is something which I can say this. Expand your mind, expand your brain, open your eyes, open. I cannot say it again. Nobody's going to make you do anything. And also, your learning begins now. You are able to understand something as an adult that a child simply cannot. Not because they just do not understand this. And for some reason, there are people that I know, one in particular, Mrs. Ellen I know, if I said, what was the last thing you learned? What was the last? Tell me, what are you interested in now? Those are the saddest people I've ever seen. I've ever seen. You should go through these things like, what am I into now? Well, and it could be a song. It could be a type of music. It could be a food. It could be something culinary. What are you doing in your life that's different? What are you doing? One of the elements and signs of depression is something called anhedonia. The opposite of hedonism, anhedonia. Where you don't have any interest in anything. Nothing, you don't care. Nothing interests you. You don't have your moments of like, I used to always like to read the paper after. You don't have that anymore. So, having moments of pleasure, having routine, having things that you're interested in, are not only good for you, but are indications that you are normal. Enough with the lecturing. Because I'm telling you, I go through YouTube, in particular channels, so fast. Because I'm realizing, oh my God. You had the chance there. You had the chance. Just like when I see somebody who goes on TV and they want to make I saw something the other day of somebody who lost their job. And it was a kind of an interesting story, and they could be on TV where somebody would say, hey, I want that guy. I feel sorry for that guy. And he showed up looking like he was at the beach with a hat turned around. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm learning nothing from this. I don't feel any empathy. You're not, this was your chance. This was your closing argument. Life is about a closing argument. Life is a closing argument. It's making people understand the essence. I heard somebody say, you know what I hate the worst? Elevator pitch. There's no such thing as an elevator pitch. No such thing. No. You know what the elevator pitch is? Don't bore people. All right. Anything else, honey? What am I missing? Anything else?
Just to thank everybody for following and supporting us.
Thank you for following us, for supporting us. Please, I'm going to say this again.
Take care of your kids, protect them.
Subscribe, and also watch your kids. Remember, they're good. They don't mean any harm, but you're still the adult. You're not their friend, though you kind of are, but not really. You're a parent. And as such, your kid knows that. So your kid's not going to tell you everything. Same thing you didn't, because you don't want your kids to tell you. There has to be kind of a demarcation of rank. Watch them like a hawk. Watch them like a hawk. And remember, the number one portal is this. That's right, an electric wireless mouse. No, I'm kidding. I meant to use a iPhone or something, but I don't have mine handy. Okay? Enough of the lecturing. You have a great and glorious day. Stay warm. We'll see you tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel. Until then, remember these immortal words. Remember this valedictory. Remember this denouement. Remember this adios. The likes are pretty pathetic. At 199, it's pathetic. I don't know. I'm tired of chiding. I'm tired of lecturing and hectoring. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.